It's Thursday, the 3rd of June. Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan, and thanks for joining me as we take a look at the forecast right through until the weekend. And winter is on its way, and I don't just mean the official start of winter on the meteorological calendar, which was on Sunday. I mean, winter weather is on its way. We've got snow to low levels, heavy snow in the forecast, and a temperature drop that goes nationwide as we go to the end of the week and the weekend. Before it arrives, though, we've got another low out in the Tasman Sea that's going to move in and bring some warm weather and then some thundery weather. You can already see plenty of thunderstorms associated with this out at sea. Now that is normal. We saw that last week, and then a lot of those thunderstorms fell apart once the low interacted with land. The sea helps to fuel them. So we've got a risk of thunderstorms later this week, but as we come through the next few days, we're going to be seeing low pressure, wet weather, and then that cold southerly moves through Wednesday night in the lower South Island, and it goes nationwide by Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So this is quite a large wintry outbreak that is on the way, the first one of its kind so far this year. High cloud down around parts of Otago and Canterbury, westerly winds blowing through there, and low cloud at the top of the country, making for overcast weather in a number of western and northern areas and western parts of the south as well. Let's have a look at the bigger picture. So low pressure forming in the Tasman Sea between high pressure zones. We've been seeing more of that behavior over the past month. Now what's interesting here is the southerly that's on its way. Very simple way of tracking when we're going to get a wintry outbreak in New Zealand is the shape of the high pressure systems over Australia. So there are two types of highs, and both of them are on the map here. You've got this one to our north of New Zealand, or the northeast, which is like a rugby ball lying flat on the ground. The one over Australia into the south is like a rugby ball that's about to be kicked. And those are the ones that produce the cold change, because sideways high pressure systems like this tend to move the weather sideways. The ones that are tall have greater reach in the temperatures, obviously warm at the top here, or hot at the top, cold at the bottom. So when you get a big system like this spinning anticyclonic, it pulls down warm weather on one side, but it dredges up this big cold southerly going all the way to Queensland. They got frost in the forecast this week in Queensland. So that gives you an idea of what is on the way. So before that arrives, we're on the other side with the warmer weather, subtropical in fact, and northwesterlies as well. So a number of places are warm, but the colder airflow is on its way to the lower South Island, and then it goes nationwide in the days ahead. Just like last week, we are seeing the risk of thunderstorms, but also just like last week, some of that will fall apart as it moves through. This is quite a quick animation. Goes from Tuesday today through till Sunday, and you can see the risks down here. But basically anywhere where you see any of these colors indicates instability. So it doesn't always have to have the actual flash of lightning and the boom of thunder. Sometimes it's more about heavy downpours or squally kind of downpours, instability. So let's animate this. You'll see what is coming on through. Here is the timestamp. So Wednesday sees that thunderstorm mix. As we go into the weekend, it clears out, and then we get another burst into the weekend, perhaps more sort of squally kind of showers towards the end of the week. So it's very messy. It's hard to track all that, but the point of showing you that is just to show you the instability coming on through. It will move around a little bit where the worst of those will be. Keep up to date with your local forecasts and the Met Service warnings and watches. And look at this, by Sunday, there's still more out at sea because we haven't finished yet with low pressure. There's another southerly, another low pressure zone coming out of Australia for next week. So quite a few things to cover. Let's start off now with the forecast for Wednesday. Here comes our new Tasman Sea low. Borderline, whether you want to call it a storm, severe weather possible. Now, windy nor'westers around the North Island. I know if you're in central Hawke's Bay, rural parts of Hawke's Bay, you had a very windy weekend, trees down, power cuts. Watch out for more windy nor'westers. Hopefully not as bad as they've been, but there could still be wind warnings as a result of that. We've also got lines of heavy rain, maybe with thunderstorms. It depends, they can be a bit broken up. And that instability comes into the top of the North Island, Nelson region, which has had some flash flooding lately. Worth just keeping an eye on that. You can't really forecast particular flash flood in advance very much, but just showing you there is instability around, and that could form anywhere in the North Island or the northwest corner of the South Island. The blue line, a little bit hard to see, but comes into Australia and drops back down, but it's just brushing Fovo Strait here at lunchtime on Wednesday. That is the beginning of the southerly moving into New Zealand. So mild still for many places on Wednesday for this time of the year, with northerlies coming all the way down to about Canterbury. But as that low moves in, that's when the winds start to change. And by Thursday, Now we're going into the wintry side of it nationwide, although the North Island will probably not really feel it till either Thursday night or over Friday, as it takes another day to go from the lower South Island to the top of the North Island. So the warm wet stuff goes out to the east, the colder wet stuff moves in from the south, southerlies coming through to Southland, and a southwesterly change for many other places. Thursday may not be too major for many of you, just sort of showers, a little bit of a breeze around, not necessarily problematic or severe, but we're on the borderline of that on Thursday. We've got frost as we go into Friday morning, or below zero. If it's a little too windy, some of these areas may not actually have frost in the purple. It may just be below zero with wind, which is quite rare in New Zealand to get that because we're quite a temperate climate. But you see here, this pushes right out close to Otago Peninsula. So you're really feeling that cold. The reason why we're not seeing frost round to the sort of sea level parts is because of that wind and cloud and showers that will still be blowing through. So that's not so much your clear sky, frosty weather, it's unsettled weather. Let me show you why. Here is noon Friday. So not frosty weather through most of these areas. It's probably more likely to be falling as snow. And we are expecting snow to very low levels. I've seen maps down to 100 metres and 50 metres. This morning they've gone up a little bit, maybe around 150 to 200 where that snow is going to settle. But snow is borderline with a system like this to sea level in Southland and Otago, and we might even be seeing snow around Banks Peninsula, the Port Hills, and other parts of Canterbury. So it's worth monitoring these sorts of systems. It doesn't take much, literally only a degree sometimes, for it to shift from rain to snow. And so if you're in a coastal area where it's borderline, that's worth monitoring. Also lunchtime Friday, the cold blue line goes further up into the North Island. So North Islanders may not really feel that cold weather until Friday night, a couple of days after the lower South Island first gets it. Most of the wet weather is in the south and the east of the North Island. Still a bit of lingering rain up here to the top of the country, but squally showers, maybe with thunderstorms or just hail, could be moving into the western side of both of the main islands, especially into the North Island later into Friday. Saturday looks wintry right around New Zealand. You've got the high down to the south. That is scooping up that cold air, dredging it up from the Southern Ocean area and pushing it in as a very cold southeasterly. Southerlies can be quite dry for Canterbury because, you know, Otago and Southland, the mountains and ranges there block most of the moisture. This is a southeasterly, well known for being one of the coldest directions, if not the coldest, that you can get in this part of the country. So with wet weather, low temperatures, snow, sleet, hail, all that kind of stuff, maximum temperatures into the single digits and overnight lows through the mountains and ranges of the South Island, anywhere between -4 and -10 degrees. That is cold stuff. And then it moves into the North Island, snow around Central Plateau. Great news for the ski fields. Every ski field in New Zealand will get some snow going into the end of the week. And the blue line goes right up to the far north on Saturday. So everyone feels that temperature drop, snow on the eastern ranges, snow on Central Plateau. Winter is certainly here by the time we reach this weekend. And by Sunday, it's still with us. It is maybe easing a little bit at the very top of the country, the far north, Northland, maybe by the end of the day, Auckland and Coromandel Peninsula. But there's still a few showers and that southwesterly flow. But the most wintry weather will be from Hawke's Bay right down to Southland. Now, Southland might see some improvements as well as Otago. As those winds go from being southerlies and southeasterlies, they might swing around more to a north to northeasterly by the time we reach the end of Sunday, as the high to the south here changes shape, goes sideways now, less problematic when it starts to do that. Jump over to the other side, over to Australia. There is the next big low that is moving on in with another wintry change coming in for Australia. So let's have a look at the rainfall expected through to Sunday. Pretty messy, but Canterbury might be in the warning zone. Heavy rain turning to heavy snow. The colour shading here, I haven't got the key on it, sorry, but I can tell you what they are. So these areas in the gold to the south, 20 to 40 millimetres. The areas here in the red, you're sort of going 40, 50, 60, and that's parts of the North Island as well. But the Purple is 100 and the blue is 150 millimetres. So if that starts to form as very heavy snow, that could be quite an issue for some areas where you're getting moisture and cold air colliding. So definitely keep an eye on what is going to be happening around Canterbury this week, but obviously regions around you, Marlborough, Otago, Southland, and into the North Island, Central Plateau, Hawke's Bay. Driest area is Hawke's Bay, and I heard this morning talking to the team at Agri HQ and Farmers Weekly, talking about how water tankers are coming in now to parts of Hawke's Bay. It's been so dry, and this is showing you just a few millimetres up until Sunday, unless you get one of those thunderstorms or an isolated thundery downpour. So a lot of mixed, messy kind of weather as we go through the days ahead, but certainly it's not going to be calm for everybody as we go through the next few days. We've got this wintry snap, and then next week, like I say, another low coming in. So welcome to winter officially and properly. That is all from me for today. I'll be back again tomorrow with your next update.